all-new hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
Goodness me, carnage in a chase, courtesy Head and Sharma finding their mojo on a surface where they put 270 plus when they first played here at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium, and they have just brushed the Lucknow Super Giants aside. They've given their own playoff hopes a serious boost. They've given their net run rate a serious boost, and a shell-shocked KL Rahul at the end of the game sums up the story from the Super Giants. Ridiculous, really. 167 breaks all kinds of records in a chase, which included 30 boundaries in 9.4 overs. Sharma 75 of 28, Head 89 of 30. Sunrisers win by 10 wickets. On Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by JBL. Someone swapped the surface, Ian Bishop, Mitch McClenaghan and Deep Dasgupta. Please tell me that is true.
No, same surface, but that was remarkable. It was a demolition of a bowling attack. It sums up what Pat Cummins talked about. This is the way that we want to play. He said that at the start of the season. Sometimes we'll get rolled over. We won't get enough. The previous game, they got 170 out against Mumbai Indians. And today at home, it was one of the most remarkable things that I've seen. There was that chance to Yash Thakur, and some of the bowling in the first couple of overs wasn't great, but at the same time, everything, it reminded me to be an extended part of what Faf du Plessis and Virat Kohli did in the power play against GT, yes. But they just stretched it out a little bit more. Everything they touched turned to goal. That is remarkable.
Try and put yourself in the shoes of the bowling lineup when something like that happens. It's almost, everyone's just shocked.
I think Yash Thakur, he bowled 1.5 overs, said this is enough. I'm not finishing off the power play. And then Naveen comes in and bowls the last ball of the power play, gets it for 6. And I think that kind of just summed it up. It was just not, whatever they tried throughout that power play didn't work. Spoke about it at half time. Would they go away from their plans because of the way the wicket looked, and it kind of looked like regardless of whether Gautam opened the bowling or Yash opened the bowling or Naveen, there was always going to be in that position that they were just going to take it down. But I find it difficult. I know we're going to try and nitpick little things that they could have done a little bit better, but I find it very hard to say, yep, cool, if you want to go with Gautam first over, that's cool. That was your plan, obviously, with the way you selected your side. But that second over against this combination of batters has to be Naveen. Yash should not be bowling that second over. You've got to go to your most experienced bowler. And we've spoken about it with Mumbai throughout this tournament, with Bumrah not taking critical overs against critical opening partnerships. This is one of them. Phil Salt and Narayan are another one who are a threat. You've got to bowl your best wicket-taking option at the top and your man with the most experience. And I think that was Naveen. By the time Naveen came to bowl, that was like the 5th over, I believe. And at that point,
but not seriously, you're not thinking at the 5th over that the game is gone.
Well, it was. But the 5th over, in the 5th over, I mean, the 5th over,
they were already 100, isn't it?
70 or 80?
No.
I mean, 105.3 overs.
5.3 overs. So that's just seemed, for me, it's just too late. Like, come on, tactically.
I'd rather go back to how Lucknow batted.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because if they were chasing 200, is it fair to say we have to close our eyes that maybe they don't get 105.5 overs when you're chasing 200?
Before you go to that, you just think, yes, this is a Sunrisers side whose middle order has struggled.
Yes.
So you have to get Head and Abhishek out. Abhishek, to a degree, has struggled. He gave a chance. If you get Head out, this is a side that, on that surface, after seeing how it played in the first innings, may have struggled to get through to 167.
God, I mean, I'm going to go back to that first 10-odd overs of that innings.
Of the second innings? That's the
No. I mean, obviously the first innings. I mean, second innings was 10 overs, or less than 10 overs, in fact. Yeah, I mean, and the lack of intent there. Yes. I'm not saying, obviously, the pitch got better. There's no two ways about it. It did improve, whatever slightly it did, but it was a better pitch to bat on. But that lack of intent, and it has a domino effect. If you are positive, you're brave, you're taking right chances, if you're mentally positive, there'll be catches which might be the 50-50 chances go your way. You get the rub of the green. So once you start thinking positively, and which I thought they didn't in terms of LSG in the first 10 odd overs, and now this is a statement. Next two games are at home. They had pretty dismal chasing record this season.
Correct.
Right. So now the next two games at home, whoever's coming in, they're like, oh, they chase all right. They bat first. Obviously, they're brilliant batting first. And if you're batting first, no matter how the pitch is, you still got to go 200 plus.
Gujarat Titans, Punjab Kings to go at Hyderabad.
I'll just touch on your point around the intent in the power play. And I think you're right when you say they almost look fearful.
Yeah.
And Rahul just spoke briefly after the game around that they lost a couple of early wickets and that stopped them from being able to have an aggressive mindset and approach. They were 23 for 2 after 5 overs.
Yes.
I think that intent and that mindset started before then, if you're only getting through to 23 for 2 after 5 overs. So it shows to me that Rahul or the side as a whole, as a batting unit, don't believe that they've got enough batting or a batting power or batting depth to be able to post a total after that point. If they lose one wicket in that first 6, it looks like they started to try and shut up shop because they don't back their depth. So that's squad depth, right? That's not having the resources to back yourself to play the style of cricket that we've seen in this year's IPL.
Yeah, but that's also, it's basically mindset, isn't it? So, okay, for argument's sake, SRH do not chase well. They lost their last game. The pitch behaved the way it did in the first half. So they could have also got into that defensive state of mind and say, you know what, 170, let's watch this out or whatever, let's get ourselves in. They didn't, right? So bottom line, I guess what all of us are talking about is that lack of intent and the positivity in terms of how you're thinking, irrespective of who's in form, who's not, the bench strength and all. And like Bish said, that's how they play. So whether it's, they're in it, right? So whether it's 160 or it's 260, they're going to play the way they do.
Yeah, I think the story today is very much KL Rahul, right?
Yeah.
And that's the theme on the comments on our YouTube live. Yeah. There could not be a more first-hand experience of Rahul standing behind the stumps, watching this after how he batted in what is effectively a playoff game for them. This kind of defeat now. It's about how you're going to play to win a championship. And the criticism would come at the back of how KL Rahul has played, perhaps historically in playoff games or even for India. And I can just take a series of questions on it. Why does KL go into an absolute shell? There are enough lessons learned from recent times to know this does not work in T20. Does Rahul need some kind of help to be perhaps unshackled, says Jagmohan? That previous question from data structures. There were a few more. I'll take the ones that are a little cheeky. I'll not take the ones that are a little cheeky. Yeah. But in all seriousness, KL Rahul's reaction, which we got a chance to hear before we went on air, also tells us the same. He has admired Bish, the intent with which the opposition batters came out today. Why can't he?
It's just loosening the shackles of your mind, really, and being prepared. I think, this is my view anyway, I think he has to be prepared to say, well, we may lose a couple of games. We may get rolled over, as Pat Cummins has said. But if we have the resources, and that's the other thing, you've got to have the resources to be able to play that way, so you've got to select well and just be brave, because that's the way the game has gone deep, Mitch, Raunak, on most occasions. There are times, like at the Wankhede the other night, that you will have a pitch that demands a little bit more circumspection, for example. But generally, the way the game has gone in this IPL, you've got to be able to play freely, have the resources to go there and play freely.
Yeah. Hanish says KL confused about what to, when to, overthinks the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think KL's... If this doesn't make KL up to the style of cricket that he needs to play going forward to be successful and to continue to play for India, I don't know what will. I think...
He can do it.
He can't. He can. Oh, absolutely, he can.
He can do it.
Yeah. He can.
100%.
We've seen him do it before.
100%.
And I think he's got to get past. Very similar to what we've seen with Virat, right? Like they're past that. Like you're the only person who can score runs, and he's got to go right. I need to do my score runs, and like you say, if I'm going to miss out, it's okay.
Trust the other guys.
Trust the other guys to do the job, and that's what it looks like. It looks like he's carrying the whole team on his back, thinking that if he doesn't bat the innings, that they're not going to get a score. And then so if he does get out, they're like tonight, they're a long way behind where they need to be. And it's going to take a really good coach and a good coaching structure or management and to give him the confidence that it's okay to fail and we're not going to drop you. And even that message coming from the top, like I don't see any harm in Dravid and Rohit and the likes actually saying, well, we're not going to drop you if you have this intent all the time, because we know it takes some time for you to change the style of play. But if they can unlock that from the top down, from India down, they can unlock that in KL. He's one of the best batsmen going around, and he will bounce back from this.
I mean, Abhishek's not a bad example. 15, 12 of 10, 11 of 16 last 3 games, tapered off. Maybe the 2 years or 3 years back, I'm sure Deep you can relate to a number of batters just finding their way to get a score to come back to form. That's another way to do it, right?
Yeah, but again, it's got to be that confidence coming from the top and saying, you know what, you bat the way you do, we're going to back you. What is important to see, and I've said this a few times, and I believe being in form is overrated in this format.
Yes.
Is how's the ball coming out of your hand? How you hitting the ball? Is it coming out of the middle? If you're hitting the ball well, chances are you will get a score. You will get a big score sooner or later. But, at times you say, okay, he hasn't scored runs in 2-3 games, he's out of form. Maybe he's not out of form. He's just not, choosing the right deliveries.
Not on the run.
Exactly, he's out of runs, not really out of form.
Yeah.
And that's when, for example, Yashasvi, I think he's short on runs, not short on form per se. He's still hitting the ball well. Same with, Abhishek here. Last 3 games, he was hitting it well. Those 12, 18, he was getting it quickly. He was hitting good shots coming out of the middle. So, I mean, I guess that's how we should be looking at. And same with bowlers, I'm sure. When you're assessing your T20 spells, at times you must have bowled well, but you've gone for 45, 50 in your form.
Yeah.
But, you can't be looking at just numbers and saying, oh, I bowled well or I didn't. It would be, okay, I wanted to bowl a Yorker, I did it.
Yep.
My slower one was coming all right. I feel confident how the ball's coming out of my hand. I'm sure the same with you, Bish. I mean, it's about the feel bit. At times we just get carried away with numbers a little, I think.
Speaking of Yorkers, Deepak Mohan, what happened to Yorkers? The bowlers forget it. It's tough to control the new white ball, or is it tough to control the new white ball and bowl Yorkers? RCB seemed to have used Yorkers successfully at the Eden Gardens to slow down Sunil Narayan. Maybe Yorker's the way to go with the new ball when you have batters like this. Bish?
You have to be able to execute it, though. Not everybody has that skill, right? And it's a skill that you have to learn. So it's an option, but I think just for me, I'd be doing a disservice to the quality of ball striking that I saw there tonight. That was truly remarkable. I don't want to nitpick on too many things. Yes, that bowling attack is not the strongest going around, and that's the other thing. They miss Mayank Yadav badly. That cutting edge, that LSG, they won't have him for the rest of the season probably, but they miss him.
Yep.
So in addition to loosening their mindset with the bat, they need some power with the ball too.
Gokul with the comment of the tournament. I think LSG were around 140 short on this surface.
How is that analysis?
Maybe more.
Maybe more.
Maybe more. On track for 340.
But in seriousness, there are quite a few viewers asking whether the pitch did change, and if so, how much? No.
Didn't change.
Because KL said that as well.
Because Badoni at the halftime got asked, is there any dew?
He said there wasn't.
And he said there was no dew. So, no.
And KL said that it didn't change.
Nice question on Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and all that we would admire about Head and Abhishek. Nandit asks, are we missing a new ball bowler in Bhuvaneshwar Kumar in India's World Cup squad? Did he gain form a little late? Was he ever in contention?
Not
Sweet
for me.
Story always.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I absolutely love him to bits, Bhuvi. But, I don't think not anymore. Yeah. I mean, he's been brilliant whenever he's played for India. But I think last 2-3 years, I guess, it's done.
Still a very serviceable IPL bowler. He's got lots of IPL life in him. He's potentially a retention. I mean, now, if you talk about Sunrisers retentions, it becomes one of the hardest conversations. Yeah. Abhishek, Head, Klaasen.
I think it's also the intangible that he will bring Sorry, the producer told me to speak up before we started today's show, so I'm trying to speak up now.
Sorry, what's that, Bish?
Here's something else. I think in addition to the skill that he can still bring to an IPL team, it's being that senior bowler in a group that would also help to bring on the others around him. He has leadership qualities as well, having been a captain. So all of those things still make him very much a worthwhile.
They're going to be sweating. They're going to be sweating on how many retentions they're going to be able to do, because you don't want to split up Travis Head and Abhishek at the top.
No chance.
They've recreated the style
Fire,
of so that's two.
Right.
And so if you're
Klaassen's one of the most sought after overseas players.
Klaassen. You're probably looking at a Nitesh Reddy.
Yeah,
he'll go for great money in an auction.
If he goes back into the auction, he's not coming back to Sunrisers because he's going to go
batting
all round it. But this is what I mean.
Wait to see if the impact player stays. If it doesn't stay, his stocks
value
will rise
100%.
even more.
And we haven't even spoken about Pat Cummins, the captain who's changed.
So going back
franchise.
to that Bhuvi thing, were you on the initial Hyderabad games? One thing that I observed was obviously Pat Cummins' first year in the franchise, first year captain itself. He actually got Bhuvi involved. So it was Bhuvi who was helping him through the whole thing.
He's a cornerstone of that team.
Yeah, so the importance of Bhuvi, I mean, it's not just about bowling, like you rightly said, it's the dressing room presence, and he's a very approachable guy. I mean, anyone who's met Bhuvi would say that. I mean, he's such an absolute, proper team guy, and you would want him in that dressing room.
Yeah. Well, extraordinary game this. Even more extraordinary when you come to think that in that innings, I'm just going to read the numbers out straight up, because we've had 30 boundaries. So Head has batted for 9.5 overs, scored 89. He's run 9 of his runs. Abhishek's 75 not out of 28. He's run 7 of his runs. They ran 16 and hit 159 boundaries. Incredible. More numbers on the points table will show up. How significant could this be for the net run rate? Well, it's very pretty now. 0.406 is nearly as close to Rajasthan as anyone's been in a while. Chennai with a good net run rate. A defeat by 98 against KKR in the last game. And an absolute hammering today against Hyderabad. That's effectively worth a point, you'd think, for the Lucknow Super Giants. And they only have 2 games left. They will play Delhi Capitals, who have plenty to play for. One of those 2 teams will reach to at least 14 or 13 if we don't get a result, which, among other things, today also confirms the first official elimination of IPL 2024. Mitchell McClenaghan, it is the Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai Indians. So, well, small glimmer of hope, and they were pretty much done and dusted after that power play, weren't they? So, actually, genuine question to you two, and you can chime in as well.
Of course I will.
Oh, you know you will.
Genuine question. Not about Mumbai, about this game. In a situation where you're coming up against such a strong batting team, and obviously didn't know that they were going to bat like that, do you think that putting Krunal Pandya up above Nicholas Pooran in a game where you got off to such a slow start and probably needed to try and get to 180, 190 at a minimum against the way they played on that surface, do you think that was a miss? Or do you think it was the right play? Because we haven't seen Nicholas Pooran get up to 3 or 4 or been in very early. He's been given limited time to have an impact throughout this whole tournament, and quite consistently they have not scored a score that's really realistically looked like being a score that wouldn't be chased down.
It doesn't surprise me that Krunal came up within the scheme of which they like to play.
Yeah.
But I've said it publicly before, and I think we said it earlier, that to me, Nicholas Pooran you're not maximizing him, because in other franchises and in the Caribbean, he batted 3 or 4, and that gives him more of a chance, as in the MLC final, I think, for example, where he scores 100 and he wins the game. He'll be able to do that more from up there, but do they trust anything that they have if he goes up there behind them? That's for them to answer.
I think we go back to the top 3, honestly, because the power play has seen Shahbaz Ahmed bowl 2 overs for 5 and 4, and Vijay Kant on his debut come in. Rahul looked to work him around. The tone was set there. Yeah. After that, it seems
was
really
it 23?
Hard. They were 57. They were less than a run a ball in the first 10.
Yeah.
And in the first 6, they were 27 for 2. 27 for 2 in the power play. Just think after that, the rest of the batting order is just, this must be a really terrible pitch. Let's get to 160. And they've done that well. Okay. Only because you invited me. Otherwise, I'd never add my 2 bits.
I like it.
Okay.
Need more of it, RK.
Stop it. I'm going to take a day off tomorrow. It's time to have a rapid fire review, which is actually fitting for this game. Let's go for it. Describe that Head and Sharma show in 20 seconds. Ian Bishop, you can take this one. 20 seconds. Describe the Head and Sharma show.
It was a demolition. It was remarkable. It was outstanding, and it was typical. It was unexpected to me that they'd go that hard. I knew they'd go hard, but it was typical of what Pat Cummins has been hoping for more often than not.
Can I do that one as well?
Fine.
Okay. 4, 6, 6, 4, 1 dot 6, 6, 6, 4, 6, 1 dot. Is that 20 seconds?
You put 2 dots in there.
Was there any
Put 2
dots?
dots in there. Okay. Very good. Very good. I'll give you a serious question now.
Okay.
If you promise to give me a serious answer.
Okay.
Is that the wildest gulf in intent that we've seen between 2 teams this season? Mitch McClenaghan, 20 seconds.
Yes. And I would say a close second would be Lucknow's intent against KKR in Kolkata. Would be a close second in terms of the disparity in intent.
Okay. Deep Dasgupta. How much of a role did the surface play from the first innings to the second? 20 seconds.
It played a bit. I wouldn't say it didn't at all, but I think it just boiled down to the intent bit of it. Losing couple of wickets early also played its part, but I think it was much better than 163, 65 that they got. So yeah, I mean, more than the pitch, it was the lack of intent.
All right. Ian Bishop, 2 for 12 in 4 overs. Rate that spell from Bhuvaneshwar Kumar after everything we've seen. 20 seconds.
It is symptomatic of Bhuvi's form leading into this back half of the Tata IPL, his understanding, his control, and when to bowl what. And if given half a chance to breathe, he just takes in all the oxygen.
Mitch McClenaghan, 2 punishing defeats entering the business end. How telling a blow will this prove to be for Lucknow Super Giants? 20 seconds.
I think it's a blow that knocks them out of the tournament. I think they'll do very, very well to recuperate from this defeat. I guess the proof will be how telling it is will be how they structure their team next year to be competitive in the new age of T20 cricket and IPL.
And finally, Deep Dasgupta, Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma, or Sunil Narayan and Phil Salt, your top opening pair of this season. 20 seconds.
Sorry, let me sit up. Don't start the clock yet.
That's such a difficult one. God, you know what? I'm going to go with Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma. Phil's, I mean, as good as they are. I mean, we are talking about Ferraris and Lamborghinis here. So, yeah. It's a difficult one, but I kind of like Abhishek and Travis Head. Very different kind. Abhishek is a little more orthodox, while Travis Head is very, very different. But yeah. I mean, so is, I guess, Phil Salt.
Both of you can win. I know it's a good question to get
Can I just say they have one common thing between the two? And is that one player is very proficient at taking on spin early, and one player is exceptional against taking pace, square of the wicket early. Travis Head and Phil Salt are similar in that ilk, and then you've got Narayan and Abhishek who do take different types.
The other thing, I personally think Travis Head, obviously, I mean, he bats the way he does, but he's not one-dimensional. I mean, when he needs to bat at a slower tempo, he does, depending on the conditions and stuff. I've seen him do that a few times.
So that the last game for some
exactly.
So measured.
Brilliant example, the 50 or 40 odd deliveries or something like that, which was a lot slower if you think about it. So that way, Travis Head, as good as explosive as he is, but he's not one-dimensional, and I think India has been at the receiving end a few times.
Bish, come on.
So the question would be what?
Same if you have some observations on Head and Sharma,
Or just
Salt
observation.
and Narayan. And your preference?
I would argue that Phil Salt has done that this season, particularly, I think going back to might be the Sunrisers game, where they lost a couple of wickets early up, and he just saw his way through. So I'm sure, 100% sure he did that. He showed another gear, and he's doing that a little bit more now. So I'm not disobeying your point.
No, fair enough.
But I think Phil showed that as well. Head has done it in World Cups and big tournaments, whereas Abhishek, I think, the thing that I'd say, we always talk about left-right combinations. If you've got quality and they're same-handed, it's just it doesn't matter.
There's a big box ticked for this impact in a chase as well, which up until now we hadn't seen.
I mean, this game is huge, huge.
There were a lot in common. Salt and Head are effectively playing. That's Salt's first IPL season. Head's effectively first. He was a different player back then. Abhishek and Narayan, there's no active international cricketer there.
I hope Bish's comment just there at the end doesn't get lost in terms of after this IPL, come T20 cricket for India. If you're looking at setting up an international side, I wouldn't look past Abhishek and Jaiswal, just because they're both left-handed. I think that could end up being quite a potent combination at the top, and instead of just looking for that right-left combination, as you say, when you get two players of that quality who can do that amount of damage, I wouldn't look past that point that you just made.
All right, awesome. On that note, Travis Head is named player of the match. Interestingly, some of our impact numbers have other players right on top, so let's head into the impact zone.
Minus?
So is you.
How do I get minus 7.5? Seriously, who's doing that? Come on, that has to be a joke. Minus.
Talking about impact.
That's a record. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back.
Is it a record? I think Tom's gone minus 27.
Could we see it one more time?
Minus
Let's see it one more time.
27.7.
Whoa. Let's see it one more time. Now, in all seriousness, forget who's won and lost. I'm not interested in that. But
I'm sure
unfortunately, what's interesting about Cricinfo's impact numbers is Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is actually rated higher than both Head and Abhishek, which is something you can consider. 119.9. He's our highest impact player for today. 2 for 12 or 4 overs. And KL Rahul, for his 29 of 33, has got a negative 25.9 as impact. So you can have a negative impact.
That must be a typo.
But tell me something. How come no impact points for Reddy?
What did Reddy do?
Catch?
Sir, catches don't count.
No catches.
Catches don't count?
No. Unfortunately, it's just bowling.
Raunak got 190?
Yeah. Bhuvi and Abhishek with 190. And took a little minus just to make sure you don't feel
well done, mate.
Yeah.
Really pleased for you.
That's not going to leave my mouth.
That's okay. I'll remember this day very fondly. And we landed some outrageous picks today. Let's have a look at that. Mitchell McClenaghan, Hyderabad to score for 65 in Pabli. Actually, that's so far off, I don't think it should count. You were short by 35.
You know what? KL juked me. He juked me in the first 6. He made it look like it was going to be difficult to get it off the screen.
Did you do that to all of us?
Yeah, he did. So 65 was relatively outrageous.
Minus 7.
Don't worry, it's not the worst. It's not the worst.
Bish, you're a great man. It's all right.
Not coming back here.
Ian Bishop, on that parting note, I must thank you once again for your time and presence on our show. In all seriousness, what an absolute pleasure. Thanks, Bish. See you again very soon. Safe travels.
Minus 7.5. I don't know what to say. I won't be traveling well.
All right. Well, good luck, Bish. Thank you so much for the rest of the tournament and your onward travels to the World Cup. Mitch McClenaghan, you will be in the house tomorrow, so too will Deep Dasgupta. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts, and thank you for sending in the questions. It's an early finish. In fact, the show's gone longer than the chase, so let's wrap it up. It's time for Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout powered by JBL to say thank you very much. Download the mobile app. We would hear from the Lucknow camp. Adam Voges has spoken. Travis Head is speaking, and it'll be interesting to see how both teams respond now, having very contrasting fortunes today, with 2 games to go for each of them. Stories, Sunrisers look good. Mumbai Indians are out, and we will see you tomorrow. Good night.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the City Bred SUV.